Why are Israel and Palestine enemies? Understanding the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Welcome to this deep dive into one of the world's most complex and enduring geopolitical struggles, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Whether you're a student of history, a curious observer, or someone trying to make sense of what you see in the news, this video is designed to give you a clear and balanced overview of the roots, development, and current state of this ongoing conflict. To understand the present, we must briefly look to the past. The land known today as Israel and Palestine has been significant for thousands of years. It's considered holy ground for three of the world's major religions: Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Historically known as Canaan, it was conquered and ruled by various empires including the Egyptians, Babylonians, Persians, Greeks, Romans, and later the Ottoman Empire. For Jews, the land of Israel represents the historic homeland promised to them in the Bible. For Palestinians, who are mostly Arab Muslims but also include Christians and other groups, the land is their ancestral home where generations have lived for centuries. In the late 19th century, political Zionism emerged among European Jews, driven by rising anti-Semitism and the desire to establish a Jewish homeland. Theodor Herzl, one of the movement's founders, advocated for the creation of a Jewish state. Palestine, under Ottoman rule at the time, was seen as the ideal location for this homeland. Around the same time, Arab nationalism began to take shape, with Arabs across the Middle East seeking independence from the decaying Ottoman Empire. Both movements, Zionism and Arab nationalism, would soon collide as they centered on the same geographic territory. After World War I and the fall of the Ottoman Empire, Britain took control of Palestine under a League of Nations mandate. In 1917, the British government issued the Balfour Declaration, expressing support for a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine, while also stating that the rights of existing non-Jewish communities should not be prejudiced. This ambiguous policy laid the groundwork for tension. Jewish immigration to Palestine increased, especially in the 1930s as Jews fled Nazi persecution in Europe. Palestinians opposed the immigration, fearing displacement and loss of land, escalating tensions and the UN Partition plan. Tensions turned to violence in the 1930s and 40s. Palestinian Arabs staged revolts against British rule and Jewish immigration. In response, Britain limited Jewish immigration, just as Jews faced genocide in Nazi Europe. After World War II, international pressure mounted for a solution. In 1947, the United Nations proposed partitioning Palestine into separate Jewish and Arab states, with Jerusalem as an international city. The Jewish community accepted the plan, but the Arab states and Palestinian leaders rejected it, leading to civil war between Jews and Arabs in Palestine. On May 14, 1948, the Jewish leadership declared the establishment of the State of Israel. The next day, armies from neighboring Arab countries invaded, starting the First Arab-Israeli War. Israel survived and expanded its territory. For Palestinians, this event is known as the Nakba, or catastrophe. Over 700,000 Palestinians fled or were expelled from their homes, becoming refugees. The war left deep scars and unresolved questions about land, refugees, and borders. Between 1948 and the present, several major wars and uprisings have defined the conflict. In the 1967 Six-Day War, Israel captured the West Bank, Gaza Strip, and East Jerusalem, areas with large Palestinian populations. These territories remain central to the dispute today. The Palestinian Liberation Organization, PLO, was formed in 1964 to represent Palestinian interests. Initially seen as a terrorist group by many, it gained international recognition over time as a representative of the Palestinian people. Peace attempts and intifadas. Multiple peace efforts have been made over the decades. Notably, the 1993 Oslo Accords created the Palestinian Authority and aimed to pave the way for a two-state solution. However, peace has remained elusive, with trust eroded by continued settlement building, violence, and political divisions. Two major uprisings, or intifadas, erupted in 1987 and 2000. These periods of intense violence involved protests, attacks, and harsh crackdowns, further worsening relations. Gaza, Hamas, and internal divisions. In 2006, the Islamist group Hamas won Palestinian legislative elections. A year later, it took control of Gaza, splitting the Palestinian leadership between Hamas in Gaza and the Fatah-led Palestinian Authority in the West Bank. Since then, Gaza has faced Israeli blockades, repeated wars, and a dire humanitarian situation. Hamas, considered a terrorist organization by Israel and others, regularly launches rockets, prompting Israeli airstrikes. Today, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict remains unresolved. Palestinians seek an independent state in the West Bank, Gaza, and East Jerusalem, areas occupied by Israel since 1967. Many Israelis fear that withdrawal could jeopardize their security. Jerusalem remains a flashpoint. Both Israelis and Palestinians claim it as their capital. Settlement expansion, displacement of Palestinian families, and recurring violence continue to fuel tensions. So why are Israel and Palestine enemies? The answer is rooted in history, identity, trauma, and competing national aspirations. For Israelis, it's about survival, security, and a homeland after centuries of persecution. For Palestinians, it's about dignity, justice, and reclaiming what they view as stolen land. Both sides have suffered. Both sides have legitimate grievances. Yet peace remains elusive due to mutual distrust, failed leadership, external influences, and a legacy of violence. Understanding the Israeli-Palestinian conflict requires nuance, empathy, and a willingness to see both sides. It's not just a story of politics, but of people, families, communities, and generations shaped by displacement and war. As we reflect on the history and complexity of this conflict, we must also hold on to hope. Peace is possible, but it demands courage, compromise, and the recognition of shared humanity. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more deep, balanced explorations of world history, religion, and modern-day conflicts.